Welcome to Greatness TV. You are live here with Dr. Patrick Singe, and today I'm very pleased to welcome Dr. Clyde Rivers to open up this great show, a show of great people. So, hello, Dr. Rivers. How are you?
Patrick, I'm fantastic. Thank you, sir. Always a pleasure to be on with you.
Oh, it's amazing. A very wonderful day today where we are live and launching Greatness TV, where we'll be showcasing great lives from all over the world. These are the people who are walking in their greatness. So how do you feel about this, Dr. Rivers?
Patrick, first of all, you have put on one of the most amazing events when you did your World Greatness Day in England a couple months ago. I seen no event like it. There was great people from all over the world. And man, I want to thank you for the vision. And first of all, let me just ask you a question. Patrick, where did this vision come from, and where are you carrying Greatness TV to?
Well, the thing is, one of the difficulties I experienced some years ago is lots of people leave this world without celebrating their greatness. Lots of people leave this world without discovering their greatness. There are lots of people who leave this world without developing their greatness. So one of the things we created 5 years ago together with some of my friends and partners was to come up with Greatness University, a place where we help people discover, develop, deliver, and celebrate their greatness. So as a way of discovering greatness, as a way of developing their greatness, as a way of delivering greatness, and importantly, celebrating greatness, Greatness TV is one of our brands. This is where we'll be showing people out in the world who are walking in their greatness. These are the seekers of greatness. These are the finders of greatness. These are the creators of greatness. These are the legends of greatness. So they'll be telling us their story. Remember, every great person has a story. And their story is more important than their greatness. So here in Great Lives will be discovering those stories, helping people to see what has helped others be successful in life. So when we're looking at stories on Greatness TV and looking at Great Lives, we'll be looking at this person. How did they start in life? What are their struggles? What are the systems they've used to succeed in life? What does success look for them? And what service do they have for the world? And importantly, how do they create successors? Because every great person should create a successor who is greater than them. And that's how they leave a legacy.
Wow. That's great, Patrick. Man.
Thank you.
Yes.
And that's why I'm very pleased today to be with you, you being the very, very first people we interview on Greatness TV. So I would like to introduce you to our audience, Dr. Clyde Rivers. Dr. Clyde Rivers has lots of titles. If he was to read them, they will take me like 5 minutes. I won't take that route. I will take the shortest route, and during our time on Great Lives show, you'll discover who he is. He'll give us his story. He will help us as well walk to our greatness. So Dr. Rivers is the founder of iChange Nations, the largest culture of honor in the world. Dr. Rivers is as well, he's called actually the Godfather of World Civility. And also, Dr. Rivers is an ambassador at large, an ambassador without any limitations. So we are going to see how did he get to that level? How did he create his success and greatness? And in the hope that we too, we are going to discover our greatness. We're going to develop our greatness, and we're going to deliver that greatness to the world. So welcome, Dr. Rivers. Thank you very much for joining us this evening, this afternoon in California, this evening in London, and this night, tonight in Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya, Kampala. Yes, so how are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you. Good to be with you again.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure when great people meet. Yeah, so tell us about your story. How was your start in life?
Man, uh, basketball was a passion of mine. I wanted to be a great basketball player. And see, there was a gear in me that when I start something, I don't give up. I mean, it's I've had two passions in life: basketball and God. Those have been my two passions in life. And after basketball, after it ended, I went right to God, and I've walked with God ever since. And you know what? I grew up in Victorville, California. Rode a short bus to a special school with special education. Most of my life, and now when I found God, things in my life have transformed. Man, I'm telling you, I believe there's hope for every single person in the world. They can do something phenomenal. I believe that.
Oh, that's powerful. So basketball was the starting on life. How comes that like Mike Jordan, for example?
Man, Michael, there's a thing called everybody has special capacities and abilities.
Yes.
Michael Jordans were way better than mine at, at basketball. And you know what? That's a point I want to talk about. Everybody in their own lane can be great.
Yes.
Everyone in their own grace can be great. Now, the issue is this, Dr. Basinge, in the world, what takes place is this: people want to be somebody else, and they want to be say, man, if I could be like that person, but you know what? God only made you the way you are, and His special design for you is what will carry you over. So I tell people, quit looking for someone else and look to God, because God has put assignments and gifts. And see, watch this here. Even as we're going through this actual virus time, the gifts in people don't have to stop. The gifts in people can still operate and still work, because the wisdom of God is predicated on their eternity, not a moment of time.
Amazing. So actually, Dr. Ruben West is saying it's persistence. So persistence possibly is one of the things that has made me successful. If I had given up, I wouldn't be where I am.
Ah,
So how was this aspect of persistent in your life? I'm sure the moments that you met
ah.
in your life that were moments of struggle. Could you share some of those moments and how they defined you, and how possibly qualities and human characteristics like persistence led you to overcome them?
Absolutely. What it is this: anything in life that you really want to pursue will cost you everything. It won't cost you some things, it will cost you everything. And what takes place is this, Dr. Patrick: people that aren't willing to pay the price. What I learned in life is this: is the small steps every day is what builds you.
Yes.
It's not life. People live life for exciting moments, but a moment comes and a moment goes like this. It comes and it goes. But what happens is what you get in the midst of the life experience. I tell people your actual trials are really where you're educated.
Mhm.
You're educated in your trials. Now, watch this here, doctor. When you step in and you begin to move in God's things, because and this is really evident. The Bible says, where there is no vision, the people perish. The
Yes.
people cast off discipline and restraint. So, what happens when there's vision, there's discipline. When there's vision, there's persistence. When there's vision, you keep moving. So, I know one thing: when people quit easy, I know that it wasn't a vision. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't a true vision. When it's a true vision, you get back up, and in the midst of that trial, what happens is this: you actually are educated about what you're headed into. And then when you have God vision, it increases, because this is what he says. He says, when you're faithful over a little bit, he will make you a ruler over much. So what happens is this: I tell people, stewardship and rulership are two different things. So when you're being faithful over the small, that's the test. When you become a ruler, it's a whole nother mentality. So
Indeed.
God watches your persistence in the midst of the small things, because watch this. If you can't be persistent in the small thing, you will never last in the great thing. And Dr. Basinge, what I see is people want everything quickly. They want everything right now. They want everything. Dr. Rivers, can you train me right now and I make $1 million in 2 weeks? Well, watch this. That's not how it works. Because God, in the midst of your trials, he takes the wrong motives out of you,
Mm-hmm.
and he puts the pure vision in you. And then when that happens, you can move into the new things.
Amazing. So the trials lead you to a new season.
Yes.
And I'm
Yes.
reminded one of your experiences you told me about when you're in Burundi. You're working with people in the refugee camps. Those are people struggling with lots of things. They've lost their lives, their livelihoods, they've lost some of their relatives in the refugee compound there. You are there. And that moment as well transformed you in a way, because when the president came in, then something else happened. Could you share with us that story? How you ended up becoming an
Yeah.
ambassador at large, for example.
They in Burundi, the president is phenomenal,
Yes.
because what he's done. Let me tell you this here. I look at a country. The first time I went in, there was bullet holes in over the wall.
Mm-hmm.
When you go now, the president has transformed the country. But see, people don't want to show the good story. They want to show the negative story at times, because negativity sells. I'm telling you, the president created a community works day. In the community works day, every Burundian works for like 3 to 4 hours every Saturday,
Yeah.
and they built their country. So I've seen from devastation, I've seen a nation be built by every individual working to build their own community. And I'm gonna tell you this here, man. So what happens when you walk into devastation and you have a strategy, please, and you have, because see, people watching have a dream,
Yeah.
but that dream will go through a dark season, and that dark season is called the actual trying of your faith.
Mm-hmm.
So here it is. Yeah, I'm bringing biblical principles, because that's how I'm doing what I'm doing now. So the word of God says, when you're doing something great, your faith will be tried. It will be tried. Now, if you faint in the day of adversity, your faith is small. That's what the Bible says. So what's happening is this: in the midst of your trials, if you go through right, you understand God carried you, and you come out of that
Mm-hmm.
trial with a different degree of humility, and you acknowledge the one that carried you through. Because listen, Dr. Basinge, there's a difference when you become a ruler over much. The narrative changes. The entire landscape changes when you become the voice.
Yeah.
You see, most people in life haven't got to a place to where they're able to be a voice, because they're fighting to be number one, but they haven't owned the currency of their greatness, which is their authenticity to the world.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. So how do we, in terms of systems, how do we create our own greatness currency? Because I think that's very important. I believe that everyone is great. I believe that everyone within them, they have the greatness. But there should be a way of being able to create that greatness currency. In other words, to manifest the greatness so that people can see it, so that people can value it, so that people can buy that greatness from you, so that people can treasure it. How can we do that?
Let me tell you, first of all, first and foremost, you have to own your authenticity. You have to own your uniqueness. Now, the one thing I can tell you is everywhere I go in the world, people don't value themselves
Mm-hmm.
and they don't look at themselves as number ones. They look at themselves as number twos. And they say, and I ask, and they will tell me who who's great. And I'm looking, I'm going, no, you missed it. I'm looking at greatness in you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we just have to find your assignment. We have to find your design. And when we find your design, we can put you into your greatness because no one in the world, listen, please catch this. No one in the world can do your assignment because God's given you the spirit of wisdom for your mission. So this is why when people look for copies, what can I do? I bought so many books in life, how to's, how to. And guess what? How to never worked for me because that assignment was how to for them,
Mm-hmm.
but not how to for me. So this is how I read books now. I'll pick up a book and I'll read the book. And when the inspiration leaves my heart, I put the book down.
Amazing.
Because if I follow the book all the way through, what's going to take place for me? I'll get a lot of information I have to weed through later. So
Mm-hmm.
so greatness has actually trails and has actually traces to it. But if you don't find you, you'll never be great being somebody else.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that treasure, for that wisdom. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you've just joined us today, we are very proud to introduce to you Greatness TV, to introduce to you great lives, and we're sharing stories of great people, stories of people who are walking into their greatness with a view of helping you discover, develop, deliver, and celebrate your greatness. If you want to join us on this show, just send me a message and I'll send you the link so that you can be with us live here. This is a moment to remember, and we have to make it great, just as Greatness TV,
Yes.
where it is okay to be great.
I love that. Patrick, let me add one thing else.
Yes,
See, there's a principle I've learned in life. There's a principle I learned in life. The word of God says, what you sow, you reap.
yes.
So earlier in my life, I only sought for me because I wanted to be great. And
Mm-hmm.
you know what? And that created a famine in my life because everybody else could tell I didn't care about them.
Yes.
It was only about me. Now, when I learned how to give everybody my best, God began to grow me. And I started with the golden rule a decade ago. I was in Nairobi, Kenya. I met a man named Musi Hailu, who is one of the top philanthropists in the world. He said, Dr. Rivers, I've been looking for you. The president of Burundi told me about you, and I've been looking for you for 4 years.
Yes.
So I just happened to be there, and he goes, Dr. Rivers, is this you? I go, yeah. So we talked, and he said, would you help bring the golden rule around the world? I said, man, he said, it's interfaith. I said, I would love that because everyone's greatness, whether they believe like me or not. And what took place was from that we took off. I had my first presidential honor event at the Gerald Ford Presidential Library in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and we had seven people.
Wow.
7 people. We had the whole President Ford, his actual library, huge, his history, and we had 7 candidates, and it was in a room that was seated about 300. We had 20 people in the room.
Amazing.
So we started right there. And what has taken place from this day forward, we have thousands of people that we've honored all over the world but we walked it in. We exercised our muscle of faith, like Dr. West and I were talking about. When you
Mhm.
exercise the muscle of faith, and watch this here, you can grow the institution. But this is what a big challenge is it's small things that separate people from goodness to greatness. Like Dr. West and I talked about sharing. He talked about using faith as like building a muscle. I
Mhm.
could come on here and say, guess what, people? It's like exercising a muscle. But no, I give Dr. West credit because Dr. West told me that. Dr. Burnett is helping me build some great things right now. You will see it. So I acknowledge Dr. Burnett. You
Yes.
have asked me to actually be the one over World Greatness Day.
Yes.
So I give credit to where credit's due. So guess what happens? Now God sees the fact that He can trust me to empower other people because I'm not stealing their currency. I'm saying, no, 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 no. So and so gave this. And this is what sets me apart from a lot of other things I see in the world. I see people will steal people's information and won't give them credit, won't say their name, and stand up on stage. And God's going, how far can I bless that one? How far can I bless that one that doesn't have the integrity to give this person credit? So greatness isn't just walking on a big stage, because now by the grace of God, He's given me the stage. No, we built the platform for world civility. We built the platform for the world's largest culture of honor organization in the globe. That's us in the whole world. So we do that because we acknowledge who gave us. Dr. Lakoko, she's helped build this thing. She's built it from day one. So how can I had a person call me and said, Dr. Rivers, he says, I'm supposed to give Dr. Lakoko a presidential award. And he says, what are your thoughts on it? I said, absolutely. And many people I know would say no. Why? Because I'm the only one with that, and they
Mhm.
want to be the only one. People, that thinking will limit your growth to work for God, because God right now, man, so many doors are opening. My everyday doors, Patrick. People, I just got off the phone. We're gonna just some huge things because God knows I will give the credit to Him and to the people that have done the work. So
Yes.
greatness leaves traces. I was telling someone this, Dr. Patrick. I said, with all the leadership teaching in the world right now, what is the greatest failure? Leadership. Leadership, because they teach principles without how to do it. Like, honor the people that you're with, and that will enhance your and look to make other people great around you. Look to make everybody thrive, and you'll see the world change.
And actually, that is exactly how we built Greatness University, because our focus wasn't us, but them. It's not about serving ourselves, but serving others. And most of the works, the early works we did them for free. Why? Because that was our calling.
Mm,
That was our calling. Some of those
mm,
books took me 6 months to put them together, 6 months working for free. But this is service, and that's why I believe where greatness lies. Greatness has to do with
mm.
selfless service. How are you serving others?
Very
What
good.
are you doing for others? It's answering the question, what would happen to them if I don't help them? It's a kind of question that Mother Teresa answered. This is the kind of question that Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. answered. What will happen to them if I don't go out and help them? If I don't go out and be their voice?
Mm,
This is a
mm.
question that the Good Samaritan in the Bible answered.
Yes.
Everyone is passing. Oh, yeah, I'm following my rules. I'm following the religious laws. But this good Samaritan asked the question, if I don't help this person, what will happen to him?
Wow.
Because everyone else was focusing on them. If I do break the rules, religious rules, then I'll be in trouble with my relationship with human beings and God. But the other Samaritan goes beyond. And that's really greatness about breaking the barriers, because you cannot contain greatness. You can't put greatness in a cup. Of course, the cup is written on greatness, but we cannot just put greatness in a cup. It is greater than that. And that's what, once you let
Man.
your greatness overflow, and then things start to happen. But if you continue containing your greatness, hiding it from other people, and trying to play tricks, then it won't happen easily. Yes.
Dr. King made a statement. He says, if one person struggles, we all struggle. Guess what? Coronavirus started with one person. Now, watch this here. This virus is making the world rethink itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's making the world rethink itself because I am my brother's keeper now. If
Yes.
one person's sick around the world, it can close the whole globe down now. So
Mm-hmm.
God, I have a friend that's writing a book called Holy Coronavirus,
Wow.
and he's talking about all the holy things that are making people reassess themselves. I heard a song. Yesterday I was watching TV and there was a song that came on, "Amazing Grace." It says, "I once was lost, but now I'm found." There was a homeless person on the streets, and now everyone was looking at that person, looking to help, because see, catch this, Dr. Patrick. This world only works off God's principles.
Mm-hmm.
You violate the principles of God like the world has for so many years. Really simple. Let me give you just simple. And when I talk about that, I'm saying God created human beings, and everyone God created is valuable to Him. So
Yes.
people have chosen not to value the greatest commodity in the world, and that's God's people. And that's people on every front. 7.8 billion people have value to God. 7.8 billion people. Not one more valuable, not one of lesser value. Now, what takes place in James 2:8, it says the royal law is if you love your neighbor as yourself, you live under liberty. If you mistreat your neighbor, you live under transgression. So we have a world right now where people have been mistreated grossly. Do you think the God in heaven sits back and watches that and goes, that's okay. These guys, no, at some point, he said, no, you're damaging me.
Mm-hmm.
So at the reset of the world, there's going to be greatness with a different face.
Yes.
Greatness, God said, if you want to be great, serve people. So that's true. True greatness isn't what people have made it. True greatness is treating others the way you want to be treated. And God said, if you want to be great, be a servant of them all. So,
Yes.
people, the day's coming, greatness. This is why I love your world greatness. You are finding the greatest civility humanitarians in the world, Dr. Basingay. And you are redefining greatness through your movement. Because people, there's a redefinition that's taking place in the world right now. The world's being redefined. Are you with me?
That is very powerful. Definitely it is, because we have to create a new narrative. Because if you think about the different wars, after the First World War, the world changed. The Second World War, the world changed. Now, into this great epidemic, we are fighting against a disease. It's a war in a way. It's a third world war against a
Yes.
disease. So the world is going to be different. So people can say, oh, people are busy asking, when are we going back to normal? Normal has changed. It's no longer normal has changed. We've moved on. So the new world we are creating needs people who are able to exercise their greatness in the new normal.
Doctor, I love that because you can't be put this way. When I travel throughout Africa, I see the wealthy people that have phenomenal homes,
Mhm.
and they have 15 bodyguards outside of the home. And I'm saying you can't enjoy your wealth when somebody else is outside the gates with poverty.
Mm-hmm.
You can't enjoy your life when other people are in a famine. Now, watch this. That went on for decades, people being mistreated, abused. Now, one virus has shut the entire globe down. The markets of the world are done, finished, have to restart. Why? 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 Because one thing that
Mm-hmm.
came shut everything down. How? And watch this here. And Dr. Basinge, God is not nervous. He is not moved. His not 1 inch of his word have changed. And I tell Christians and I tell believers, stand bold for who your God is, because in the day of adversity, the one that's protecting you, is it the 501k? Is it the economic package that you prepared for the last 20 years? Is that protecting you right now? Look at all. Is that protecting you right now? Is here? It is all the money in the bank? Is all the money you have in the bank? Is that helping you now when you can't leave your house? And when you can't go out of your house in some countries, there's an example. There's a governor in a governor friend of mine in a country that is sick now. He's sick now, and what happens is he did all his medical work in France and Europe,
Yes.
and he didn't build a hospital in his community, and now he's sick and he can't fly out. So he's reaping a consequence of not building his hospital for his people. And
Indeed.
now he's sick and he has to live where he what he did in what he didn't create. So always true greatness looks out for other people. True greatness doesn't look out for just yourself. It's serving others. And here it is. I always tell people this. They say, Dr. Rivers, the golden rule, the royal law, world civility, what is it? How do we gauge it? I say really simple. Really simple. People, listen to this. Anyone that comes to actually you that's doing something unjust, just ask this question. If the shoe were on the other foot, would you be okay if the same treatment happened to you? If you can answer yes, then you're walking in greatness. But if
Amazing.
your answer is, I wouldn't want that to happen to me, then don't do it to them. So the barometer of greatness is if the shoe were on the other foot, would I be okay with the same treatment? If the answer is no, you have a bad policy, you have a bad program, you have an abusive program, because God's laws never change, Patrick. They win every time.
Amazing. That is very, very powerful. And actually, I've just read a comment from Dr. Barnett. He says, world civility is the new normal. So, what are your thoughts
Mm,
about that? And actually, we need him online. We need him to join us now.
get him,
Conversation.
have
He
him be
says,
the
world
next
civility is the new normal.
have him be the next guy on this show. Dr. Burnett, get him on, get Dr. Ruben West, get Dr. Tiki Factor. We need, I'm telling you, Patrick, this show has inspired me. You are the greatness, you are the new greatness guru. No, I don't want to call it a guru. Let's call it a new ru. Because guru is an old
Thank
language.
you for the
You're
honor.
the greatness guru. So we're going to change even that narrative. So there's going to not a guru, you're the guru. You're bringing greatness, and these people are bringing greatness because you are redefining greatness to loving your neighbor as yourself. That's greatness.
Amazing. And actually, there is Anthony's Bond. Here we have Charles and Nadia from Montana in the United States. They say grace is greatness. How?
Absolutely. That's a beautiful that's such a beautiful, and because what it comes down to, watch this here. It comes down to God's ability. It comes down to God allowing us to do what we're called to. It all comes down to Him.
Mm-hmm.
It does. And that's, I am what I am by the grace of God.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's brilliant. So, Dr. Rivers, sorry, yes, Dr. Rivers, one of the things you've done really in the world is to transform other people through the culture of honor, which is based on the golden rule. So, could you talk to us about the golden rule? Because some of us really don't understand, and how importantly, how the golden rule might help us create a new world, especially after the coronavirus.
Man, uh, Professor Basinge, I don't know how you got that greatness in your head, but I appreciate it. You're brilliant. The golden rule is a simple principle, and watch this here. If we want to change, I tell every leader, we can change the world with only one thing. Dr. Riz, are you sure? Yes. Hear this. You heard it first on Greatness TV. We can change the world if we do one thing and one thing only. Love our neighbor as ourselves.
Yes.
If I love my neighbor as myself, I won't rip them off in a business deal. If I love my neighbor as myself, I won't steal from their backyard. So it's a principle that if everyone in the world adopts this one thing,
Mm-hmm.
we can transform the world with one thing. It's not two things. And see, and this here won't take $1 billion campaign. Just treat people the way you want to be treated and just catch that in motion. Man, when I go out shopping, I want to be treated good. If someone treats me wrong, I look at them like, but if I would treat that person how I wanted to be treated, that changes the world.
Yes.
So, Doctor, we are redefining greatness. We are redefining greatness because the originator of greatness is God. And
Yes.
God says, and God says, if you want to be great, be a servant of them all.
Yes, and that's what civility humanitarianism is all about. The ability to do for others as you'd like to be done to you. The ability to help others without expecting anything in return. That is selfless service, being a selfless servant. That is what greatness is all about. And there are lots of things that we do to serve others. It doesn't be physically serving them. It can be praying for them. It can be listening to them. It can be you writing your book and someone reading it, being transformed somewhere in Australia or India. That's serving others. You've chosen your gift, you've identified your gift, and using that gift to serve others. And that I think is very powerful because people think serving others is being at the front line and doing things physically, but there are lots of other things you can do without being in the environment to serve others. And that's how we identify greatness. We're not just limiting it to people who are doing great things and they're always winning the Oscars and winning the Nobel Prize. No. And actually, when I look back into my life, the kind of people I'd love to be my mentors, those are the people who really put selfless service beyond their lives. Those are the people who lived by selfless service. I would love to be mentored by Mother Teresa.
Yeah.
I'd love to be mentored by Desmond Tutu. I'd love to be mentored by the great Dr. Miles Monroe, and importantly by the great Dr. Rivers. Well, I think, but all the other ones, all the two people I talked about, Martin Luther King is another one I'd love to be mentored with. But Mother Teresa is no more, but I read her work. Desmond Tutu, I haven't met him yet, but I read his work. Miles Monroe, I do. But through Miles Monroe, through your teaching, through your support, through your mentoring, through your consultancy, I have access to Dr. Miles Monroe. because you're mentored by that great man. So how does it feel like being mentored by one of the greatest leadership legends?
Let me tell you what, Dr. Monroe was one of the great leaders of the world. He he had an understanding of the kingdom of God and not religion. And when you understand the difference between the kingdom of God and religion, you no longer segregate people.
Mm-hmm.
You understand that all people are made by God. Some don't believe the same, but we still have to value the people.
Mm-hmm.
The actual greatest thing that I learned from Dr. Monroe is he loved everyone, and he helped everyone. And let me explain something that I've seen, and I'll get back to that for a second. I've
Yeah.
seen something, Patrick, in my life. I've seen something. I've seen people that are only about themselves. At the end of life, they're alone and by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
People that learned how to put stuff into others freely. And I'm not a businessman. Of course, we do business. But what I'm saying is, when you put true nuggets in people, the truth sets them free.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a backdoor thing, that a backdoor thing, that doesn't work. So I've been noticing bitter old people. And I said, God, why are they bitter? And he said, they didn't give in life to people. It was about them.
Mm-hmm.
He said, Clyde, if you want to be great, make other people great and give everyone your best. And when you do that, listen, when you give and then he says, when you give to the poor, you lend to the Lord and he will repay. So greatness is really serving other people with the best of your capacity and watching God pay you, watching heaven take care of you, watching God. I'm telling you, people, this day, when this virus, when the quarantine ends, there will be a new God dialogue. I was just talking with a friend on the phone. He said
Mm-hmm.
an atheist called him and said, "Man, I'm praying to God now. I'm going to church now because this virus can somebody protect my family."
Wow.
So there will be a new conversation, and I believe we should be on the front and not be ashamed to talk about God, not be ashamed to talk about Jesus, not be ashamed to let the world know who the King of Kings is of everything in the world.
That is powerful. That is powerful. And that leads us to our last part of this conversation. So, looking at the new world that is emerging, how can we help people create their greatness? Looking at the new world that is emerging, how can we help people walk out of the wrong mentalities and walk into greatness through civility, for example?
World Civility, I'm humbled that we have a platform for the world with civility. Now, I'm meeting with organizations that want to bring unity to America. I'm working with several different entities that are calling and Dr. Rivers with civility. Let me tell you, most times in the world, there's been civil wars that have a certain mechanism that after a war, they have peace and reconciliation. After racial tensions around the world, there's peace and reconciliation. But no one knows a narrative for a pandemic
Mhm.
because a pandemic has never happened before. So how do you put the world back together again when there's no war, when
Yes.
there's no racial tensions? You put it together through civility. You put Let me tell you this here. Civility will put the world back together again because people need each other again. Now to answer your question, I'm asking people to ask God for the spirit of wisdom in their life so God can give them wisdom for their assignment. Everyone needs wisdom from God for your assignment, because the creator of heaven and earth is the one that knows the design he made you for. So I tell people, you don't have to ask me, ask the one that made you,
Mm-hmm.
and he'll give you the wisdom and the revelation to bring your contribution to the world. Because, Patrick, 7.8 billion people in the world are 7.8 billion people's solutions.
Yes.
I am my brother's keeper.
Amazing. And actually, that's what we're thinking about. When you think about us, most of the time we limit ourselves to our inward greatness, what we are about, and our purpose, and what we want out of the world. But the people who change the world go outward, and do something for the other person, outward greatness. But most of us stay there on that level of materiality. What can I do for myself? Inward
Mm,
greatness. What can I do for others? Outward greatness. But they never lift their heads up and actually say, where is my origin?
mm,
Upward greatness. Where do I come from? Is all this just by accident? Or there's some greater power? There's a greatest reality, which is the origin. If you don't look up, you won't get the downward greatness. If you don't look up, you won't get God descending on
come
you
on.
and being able to impact on your life. And then from there, transforming your life. Yes, there's the material greatness, but as well the spiritual greatness, which is greater than the material, which people miss because they
Mm,
don't lift up their hands and call upon the name of God. So
yeah.
when, for example, you go into the Bible, most of those spiritual giants, Moses, he climbed the mountain, he went up, climbed the mountain. Jesus climbed up, went to the mountain. Think about the transfiguration. Most of those spiritual giants, they climbed up to meet God, and then God met them, and they were
Mm,
able to come down and transform their realities.
wow.
And
Wow.
I think we need that. It doesn't have to necessarily be God, but there's a need to recognize actually there's something greater than the materiality of existence.
Doctor, you couldn't have said it uh, anymore. I tell people this as we close. When I just got a new iPhone 11. Well, the one that created the iPhone 11,
Yes.
if it breaks, he knows how to fix it. Why?
Mm-hmm.
He created it. So we have God, the creator of the world and everybody. So how come we don't go to him to ask him to fix us
Mm-hmm.
and fix the things around us? The one that made us is the one that knows everything about us.
Yeah.
So I believe we, with World Civility, and we're taking every stage in the world, mark these words: civility is the vehicle to put the world back together. Because it is dialogue, love, compassion, and we will need that when we come out of this. Because people will be afraid. They aren't trusting. We're taught to stand 6 inches away from 6 feet away from everybody now. Well, who's going to put that mindset back together to say, hey, it's okay to love your brother again? We've learned everything online, but still people need a human touch. So these are good things, but where's the touch? And we will bridge the gap with civility.
Amazing. That is powerful. Civility is a vehicle to put this world together after COVID-19. Thank you so much, Dr. Rivers. Has been great hosting you on this Greatness TV, on the Great Lives show. So in case you would like to participate in these future shows, get in touch with us and we'll be able to get you onto the Great Lives show and you too impact on the world through your greatness. So your last words, Doctor, what are those words you live by and you're
Let me tell you,
prepared to die for?
make everybody great around you and we all live. Make everybody great. Every time you leave somebody, they need to be lifted higher. Everywhere you go. See, 7.8 billion people are my assignment to make sure they all reach their greatness.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So we're going to end this show just now. Thank you very much for joining us. It's been a
Thank you.
privilege and a pleasure for you to be with us. And thanks so much, Dr. Rivers, for your time. And we really very, very grateful for the gift of life, for the gift that you have that is impacting on the world. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been Dr. Patrick Singe, live at Greatness TV, and Dr. Clyde Rivers, World Civility Leader at Greatness TV.